definitely gonna do this without noise. You wanna do my picture?
Yes.
Oh, that's what there is.
Awesome.
Hello. So welcome to today's event. I'm Joel. I'm going to be your MC, so I'll make sure everything stays on time-ish. Welcome to Relevant again. You probably already know what Relevant is, but I'm going to reiterate. It's a student-led initiative that's been taking place to answer relevant questions about Christianity to students, and it's been happening since 2016, for part of it under a different name. So if you came in, you should have one of these and also a worksheet. So these feedback forms you can take notes on one side, I guess. If you have the worksheet, I guess that's for your notes instead today. But just let us know how we did, and if you have questions, let us know how we can contact you to answer your questions. If they're general and not like for the speaker specifically, because then you can just talk to the speaker later, and we have a question answer period at the end. So now I'll introduce our speaker on the topic of, generally related to God and suffering. Lena Cebula was born and raised in a post-USSR Ukrainian iron mining town. Her parents struggled in their marriage. They became alcoholics and lost well-paid jobs, eventually divorcing and losing custody of their kids. Through poverty, Lena struggled to survive and became a victim of abuse, and unfortunately lost her first child at 15. She was drug addicted, alcohol dependent, and trafficked to foreign countries, Israel and Canada. In Canada, she finally escaped slavery and lived in a shelter. She took English as a second language classes from level 0 and received grace in 2011, found Christ, and is now a wife and mother of 3 brilliant and rambunctious kiddos. I love the phrasing. In August 2019, her book Miraculous, My Journey from Hell to Heaven, was published. It's a raw and transparent account of her life chronicles. She has also contributed a chapter in Breaking the Silence, Voices of Survivors, which is a powerful anthology that brings together the stories of 21 individuals who have faced trauma head-on and emerged as beacons of resilience and hope. A portion of the profits from the book sales go to Fight for Freedom, to support survivors, and Zonta International to build a better world for women and girls. Please join me in welcoming Lena.
Thank you, Joel. First of all, guys, I could never have imagined that after 20 years of silence, I would be standing on stages in front of the hundreds of people, and that my story going to be broadcasted all over social media. Because in the past, I was afraid of judgment and rejection, because I thought my story was of shame, guilt, and condemnation. But now I know this is a story of salvation, of overcoming adversity, and thriving after trauma. So, like Joel said, I was born in Ukraine. The time was USSR, and my parents struggled in poverty, and they became the alcoholics, and our home was like infested with like black mold, cockroaches, and mice, and I was hungry all the time. I was literally starving. So my home was full of strangers because they brought booze and drugs, but they brought food as well. That's how I ended up to thinking that I can get something to eat, and I became an easy target for those guys. I was abused, raped in the basement of my apartment numerous times. When I thought things couldn't get any worse, excuse me, 1 month before my 15th birthday, I woke up with this severe abdominal pain. I was scared and confused, only to realize I was in labor. I didn't know I was pregnant. I didn't know who my father was. My baby girl died three months later from health complications. I carried this little casket to the cemetery in my arms and for the next 20 years, this image has plagued me with in my mind and my soul. So I suffered with depression and anxiety and panic attacks. I started looking into alcohol and drugs to medicate my pain because trust me, I felt it's better to be high than feeling worthless, hopeless, helpless, and broken, so broken. So I became a heroin junkie. I hardly remember anything next 3 years. Then I saw people dying around me from overdose. My friend got shot in the face. They were ended up in the jail as well. So I was so tired of this lifestyle, but there's no hopes and dreams for people like me. And oh my goodness, guys, I met this lady. She was kind, compassionate. She brought me to her house. She offered me a fancy coffee and sweets, and she actually treated me like a human. So I felt wonderful and safe. And even now, I have goosebumps. It's really was that somebody cared. Then she offered me a job. There was no specifics, just a job. Right now, if you read in my book, I have so many red flags that I could see right now. But that time, I thought, oh my goodness, somebody cared. I have an opportunity to escape my life. So I said yes, eager to escape. Still on heavy drugs, I vaguely remember a report and how I got through customs, I'll never know. Just one morning, I woke up hearing Muslim call to prayer. Allahu Akbar, run out. I was confused and terrified because I was in a foreign country. So it took me a while to realize that this nice, rich-looking lady actually sold me into human trafficking into foreign country. Then the fear and panic cut into my core because where am I gonna get my next dose? Because people not just get off from heroin, they can just quit tomorrow. The body literally shuts down, all the organs, and they die. I saw it, I know it. So I was really scared. But I think because my brain was so allured by my new surroundings, but the scent and look of it, I actually got through. And when I was feeling a little bit better, that I was able to tour the city a little bit more. So there was 2 guys with us, accompanying 5 girls, and honestly, they brought us to this tourist destination where all the buildings were painted white. They brought us to this restaurant. So they told us we're in Cairo, Egypt, and I experienced this culture and the music, and I walked in the Red Sea, and I saw this sunset over the Red Sea. It was so amazing because I thought I'm gonna be dead million times over, and now I had the chance to witness such a beauty. So I'm thinking my life is changing for the better. Until next day, our hotel was raided by the police because one of the guys was flagged for human trafficking. So they brought us into the station, took our passports, our fingerprints, and they kept repeating, "Why are you here?" Implying that we were trafficked. But we had our visas intact, and they give us a script, and we were this group on excursion, blah, blah, blah. So they had no means to actually arrest us, so they let us go. But they arrested the guy who was with us. So the second guy actually took us to another mysterious destination, and we drove through the sand dunes for hours, and then he literally dropped us off in the middle of nowhere. There was this Bedouin tent, and there was 2 huge Middle Eastern armed, terrifying men who did not treat us well. This is for the first time I was really scared for my life, and I've been on the street for like last 3 years, and for the first time I actually was scared. So at night when we were tired and hungry, they forced us to crawl under the barbed wire, crossing the border into Israel illegally. And I can literally see soldiers on the border patrol tower. I could hear them speak. But that tunnel or whatever, they use it all the time because I know they were familiar with that very well. So we literally were so paralyzed with fear, we just were obeying. Like nobody spoke our language, we didn't speak theirs, but they're like pushing, shoving, and I need to survive. But on another side, there was no one to receive us because of the earlier police intervention or earlier, because we were off time. So they forced us to crawl back, and the next day they put us in the bed of the truck and threw spare tires on us and cover us with tarp. And we tried to cross at the border second time. We wasn't searched. That's how I know that it's all arranged, because there were soldiers. I could see like through the truck because like I was the closest to the side of the truck. I could see guns. I could hear them speak now, Hebrew, Arabic, whatever they are. But they let us through. They did not search the truck. So on another side, there was other men who actually waited for us. So we again forced to run, crawl under, jump over the fence. Like it was so bizarre. Then they shoved us into the jeep, and then they sold us into different brothels like in Israel. So I find out that it's very important what place you end up in, because the girls who came with me, they died, they got missing, like I never seen again. So I actually was bought by the family business, and I had 2 bodyguards. And you might thinking like, oh my gosh, this is such a horrible situation. But it was a upgrade for me, because I was by default off heroin. I was physically clean. I was fed, and nobody could rape me or beat me to death. And there, in the brothel in Israel, one of my bodyguards shared the gospel with me. So if you ever think that you cannot talk about God somewhere, that's what happens there. And I don't even know if he understands that that's what God used to lead me to Christ later on 10 years ago. But anyway, he planted the seeds. The way he was talking about God, and nobody really stopped him to witnessing to me, but the way he was speaking about the suffering and about the persecution and how he ended up there, it was so fascinating, because, like, honestly, it felt like his faith was alive. So I never heard anyone speaking to me like that. But another thing that really attracted me to him, but he was literally like shining when he was talking about God. And he treated me like a person. There was like no prostitute, alcoholic, drug addict. He treated me with respect. So when my grandfather died, he took me to Jerusalem to actually pray at the Valley Wall. So it's a prayer wall when you can actually ask God for favor. So closer and closer I came to that wall, like this deep sense of shame overcome me, because like all my dark deeds just like fly in front of like my eyes, because I know for sure the people like me does not deserve mercy. But I pray, and God answered my prayer. And he miraculously saved my grandfather, like literally saved his life. So that's what triggered me actually to leave my kind of a situation. But you don't leave this kind of situation alive unless you have been rescued. This is again, miraculously, they allowed me to go home. They set me free, but almost 2 years later, because I paid them all the debts, needed them all over. So I thought I'm gonna start a new life because I saved up some money. I'm gonna live like normal people, but my aunt stole and spent all my money from my account. And my other bodyguard, who was like a brother to me, cheated me out of like all possession that I accumulated back home. I literally had like this gold bracelet. I went, I sold that bracelet, and I was on heroin again. So 3 months later, I was like right hand of the #1 drug dealer in my city. I thought if I have unlimited amount of power, with influence, money, and drugs, I could buy that worth and value that's been stolen from me. But it wasn't safe. I could be murdered for the drugs, I could be put in jail, and I could die of overdose. I actually, because I have a clean heroin, I was doing the dose of like 5 people already when I decided to walk away. But what happened actually, like what I didn't tell you, it's that time when right before I met that lady, I felt like in my spirit, I heard a voice, a thought that you've been made for more. And that's why I thought, like, what for more? People like me, like, don't have hopes and dreams. So the second time I'm thinking, like, I don't want to be in the cemetery, I don't want to be in jail, and I feel like this something goes like, you've been made for more. So actually, second time I quit on a cold turkey by myself. I literally just left the city. And the interesting part that my city got so bad with the drug addict abuse, like and drug dealer and mafia and all this stuff, that actually big city like Ottawa and Kiev create a special unit. Actually, I never told this to, like, it's not part of like my notes of presentation. But what happened is they actually raided my city and half of the people went to jail. Like literally it was something like 3 days after I left. So that's how I know that was divine intervention when he said you need to get out. So I quit, but then I tried to find a job. Okay, after I had like thousands, like went through my hands, I'm trying to work and in minus like 40 outside selling the clothes in the bazaar in an economy who nobody ever buying, talking to these little kids who running around sniffing glue because their mothers like dying in the basements. Like literally there was like nothing for me. So I didn't know what else to do, so I sold myself again in the human trafficking because my body was commodity, like there was no secret. I didn't think that it's precious or priceless. It was the ticket to get out. So this time they brought me to Canada. And there's the thing, the girls before me got deported because they've been caught by the police. Again, miraculously, from all of the girls that they brought to Canada, they chose me to start the immigration process because they knew I'm a drug addict, alcoholic. They introduced me to crack, heroin, easy control, easy manipulate. She's gonna be our slave forever. And then they allowed me to go ASL classes so I would have like means to communicate. So I went to ASL classes and I was around 25 years old that somebody spoke to me and told me that I have rights. I was like, what rights? They're like, human rights. I'm like, wow, okay, interesting. So then I'm thinking, okay, government have my paper trail. They know that I'm here. It's not like illegally in Israel. And that was one of the things you cannot run. Where are you gonna run? You have no documents. And they have like everything. But again, by the grace of God, immigration actually took, because they have to do investigation and stuff, they took all my documents and it was like with the lawyer and the government. So like my traffickers didn't have my stuff. But what they did have is that control over me because they say if you run, well, they say that to everyone, not to me. We kill you, we kill everything around you, your family back home, and maybe that, and all that stuff. But plus, when you're a newcomer, like, and you're living in the basement, you don't know, like, no laws, no people, like, no language. So, longer I went to school, more I started asking questions. And I realized that I have an opportunity to start my life with a clean slate. So I took the chance and I ran away. I lived in shelters and I learned the language from level 0. And then I actually, after all this turmoil, I had an opportunity to dream. Actually, one of my friends for the first time said, "What is your dream?" And I thought it's so bizarre because we're asking our little kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Let's dream, you go to university, you can go to school. Like, let's see, like, all your gifts and talents. Like, you know, I literally was so blown away that in 25 years, nobody asked me what's your dream because there was no dream. Live another day. I never really was thinking like to commit suicide, but I was thinking like if I don't wake up tomorrow, it's okay. My life literally has like no worth, no value, not to me, not to people around me. So if I gone, nothing like literally I was like, you know, thinking I'm driving, I see this raccoon, and I'm like right now in this life that I live right now, I'm thinking, God, thank you, I could be that. Nobody would knew. My parents didn't look for me when I ended up in Israel. They didn't look for me when I ended up in Canada. So nobody would come and celebrate the life. They would like scrape me off the sidewalk and whatever they do with the dead animals, that would be me. But what's interesting though, that I was thinking, you know what, I actually have a passion to help women to make their lives better. So I entered the government-created cosmetology course and became a hairstylist. And afterwards, I actually owned a hair salon as well because I loved it to mentor women, help women, later on pray for women. I love boosting confidence. I know that we are so able, and I just know how dark that world is. So make it something beautiful, it just was pleasing me greatly. But plus, another thing that was pleasing me greatly is that achieve mode. Because I assume, so now I'm in Canada, how these normal people live, or they go to achieve. So I'm like, okay, so I need a license, I want to drive car, I want to learn martial arts, so I'm a black belt taekwondo. And then I went to competitions, I have like trophies and medals, and like I have like whole wall of these different achievements, like, you know, everything with my name on it, and I put my name on it to prove me that I'm worth something. Because look, all this stuff, but still inside I had peace. I felt angry, I was so obnoxious, I hated everything, and it was terrible. It didn't feel me, it just was sting. And I was like, okay, what's next? What else I can do? And then I met a boy. I don't know, honestly, divine appointment, because he fell in love like crazy with me. And I was like, what? And he was treating me like a lady. And guess what? He was pastor's son. He brought me to the church. And I had different color hair, I have piercings everywhere, I have tattoo, I was smoking, so I'm coming to the family dinners. I swear, because my English was so terrible that I have to, like those filler words was like F words and F words, so they were like, I don't think that's what they planned for the baby boy because he was like fourth child. But I show up in the church because I want to impress the parents, and I'm like, color my hair, same color, try to be quiet. But I actually loved it. I loved being in the church. Because first of all, what was different, because there was no any like icons, there was no any smell of that frankincense with whatever our churches are doing. There was no like Latin singing. I don't know like in what world you go into the church and people go like with the language that nobody's speaking. It's like, what is this? But they look fancy, so they have like authority and stuff like that. But anyway, that's why church never been attracted to me like at home. But there was like literally the pastor was talking. He was really nicely dressed, like suit and tie, and he was like older gentleman, like super intelligent. I think like before becoming pastor, he was like something like nuclear power, like of Canada, like. So he was using words that I never heard of, but I could understand them. Like, you know, like I don't know the words, but I understand what he's speaking about. And like he cried. Every time he was talking about God, I'm like, man, don't cry in my country. Are you kidding me? In front of all these people, why he's crying? And I was thinking, that's what made me curious. And then one day I heard salvation message, and literally it was like speaking to me. So I took the course downstairs in our church, the Alpha course, and I gave my life to Christ in 2011. So I was 31 years old. And I received grace and forgiveness. I literally like felt like when I got baptized like that year, I literally come out from that water and I just saw there was nothing behind me. So I'm like, okay, I'm the new creation. So I don't need to think about this past. And I thought I'm gonna bear it. I thought I'm never gonna talk about it. And with my husband, when he chose to marry me, I wrote him a letter. And I'm like, because I knew that I don't deserve have a family or husband or love or anything. So I don't work. My life doesn't work anything. So I gave him that letter, but he chose not to read it. He said, this is between you and God. I love you for who you are now. So there you go. For like 20 years, I never told anything to anyone. But he could see trauma. He could see that it's bad. Because no way you can go through that and don't have impact on your body, mind, and soul. So some of the things like work out really right away, like me quitting, drinking, smoking, swearing, that stuff just kind of like fall off. But anxiety, like I have to sleep with the dark room, no sound, no any people. All the doors have to be locked. And then we got 3 kids, the sound, the noise, like it was hard. So sometimes I thought even too, like I wish he could know my story, so then he would be like not asking me, "What, your mother didn't teach you how to sweep the floor?" You know, because instead of saying, "Yeah, she didn't," because she was so messed up, I would just blow up angry because all I heard, he said, "You're a bad wife. Like you don't know how to take care of the house." So it was all like hurting me, but I didn't know how to communicate because nobody was like, even 10 years, like listen, we didn't talk about trauma, PTSD, human trafficking. Like I'm so grateful that right now through the online media and through like this conversation like that, we actually can bring this to life because, oh my gosh, you don't have to be raped or abused to have a trauma. So listen, if something in your life affecting you negatively, pay attention because it's not gonna go away. It's gonna be like in a loop until you will address it. So I know you guys been sitting for a while, and usually in this time I'm talking about the human trafficking and red flags, but I actually want to do this exercise with you. So please. I'm just thinking like how much like I want to work, like my keyword. You already ate, maybe like exercise this way. So please stand up if you like. Not right now. Oh my gosh, I love you. You know what? I always worry nobody gonna get up. I'm like, you give me confidence. Okay, get ready guys because I'm gonna ask you please stand up, okay? So please stand up if you like social media or video games. Come on, don't be shy. Like, it's very important because the visuals are very important. Those who don't get enough, they just shy. Okay, sit down. Okay, now please stand up if you love writing or reading. Sit down. So now please stand up if you love art or music. I know you love it too. Okay, please sit down. So now this is very important. Please be brave, be honest, because sometimes visuals are so much more powerful. How many of you have negative thoughts or emotions? Please stand up. Sit down. How many of you been ever comparing yourself to somebody else? Please stand up. Awesome, thank you. Sit down. Now, how many of you ever been upset or angry? Please stand up. And in this moment, I want you guys to stand. I know you want to stand up. Please look around. We're all in the same boat. Like being upset, angry, and have grief. Sit down, guys. Like, it's inevitable. I think the worst lie that we can believe in, that nobody cares and nobody will understand. Did you see that in this exercise that we're going through the similar stuff, maybe not the same, but very similar. So that worksheet that I give you, this is your homework. When you have a time to reflect, it's very important to think about those questions because your circle is matter. And in this point, honestly, I just heard this like at the podcast, like this, I don't even remember who was talking about, but I want to give you that. You prepare for the war in the time of peace. You know this is going to be happening. The trouble will come. No matter how wonderful you are and try to avoid everything and careful and stuff, it will come, I promise you. But if you have that contingency plan, that you know when this is happening, I'm calling Rachel because I know she's gonna support me, she's gonna love on me, she's gonna listen to me, she's gonna be that person who gonna help me to stay in the right course. Maybe in some other stuff, like for example, like if you start like with mental health or physical health, you have somebody else, like counselor, a teacher or somebody like you do need experts too, but you're gonna read that as well because friends are amazing, but experts really good as well. So it's kind of fill that gaps that you need. So that reflection for you as well. What I did there as well, I put a Bible verse that's very dear to my heart because I do believe that everything that we're going through has purpose. Like God does not waste anything. And in this time in my life, I've been married with the same guy. I'm with him for 20 years. I have 3 beautiful children. I have 2 businesses now. I'm a published author. I'm talking to you guys, and I love this. I totally just love this. And guess what? God took all that mess and created the message. That character, that perseverance, that endurance, that who I am right now, with His help, was built refined through the fire. You know how we make the gold, it have to melt and redefine. So that's why this is very important. That's why I want to talk to you about identity too. So if you guys really want to know about human trafficking, there's tons of resources on my website, lenacebula.ca. There's different PDFs, like Safety Online. There's organizations that I support, that they're all vetted, they're all fantastic. So if you want to even like do something like or partner up with them, they're all great as well. So, or if you want to know more information, you ask questions, or you can reach out. There's my business card, so you can take that. But I want to tell you the story. Just recently, I watched it was a video. I stumbled on the video when I was preparing for my presentation. And it's actually a podcast. It's not a Christian podcast, but oh my goodness, I really like this host. So it's called Diary of CEO. Is anybody familiar? Like, he's fantastic, isn't that? Like, he has reason, like my kids say. He has like that, charisma. He's like super intelligent, super kind, humble. He's just like fantastic. So I love the questions that he asked because I have my own podcast, so listening how he interacts with his guests, fantastic. Another thing though, he has like amazing guests. Like he's like interviewing like politician and A-list actors, and different doctors and athletes. Like so, it's never boring. That's why I love it. Like, and I always get some information from that. I'm like, whoa, was like really good investment of my time. So I'm driving, and that time it was I think like he's psychotherapist, and he's like Dr. K, whatever, like that's how he's like introduced himself. But he was talking about healing trauma. So every time I feel like healing trauma, I'm like, okay, what can I learn? Maybe there's something else I can do to be more aware. Because honestly, like being with my own psychotherapist, life coach, physiotherapist, like over the years, like I'm like the most stable that I ever been. Like, man, guys, I have like peace in my mind, body, and soul, and I love it. I just love it. But it was hard long road for healing, and still continue. But like, oh man, I'm so like right now. But the coolest part that this doctor was saying that you need 3 things to actually heal the trauma. And number 1, you need safety. And that's what this country, my husband, my family, my church provided for me, allowed me to actually heal. The second one, it was awareness. Because until you don't know, you don't know. Okay? So when you know, you do better. So, and the third one, he said identity. I'm like, how like the identity, like part of that. But anyway, so I'm like, okay. And he goes like, in 3 sentences, Steven, tell us who you are. I was like, tell us, Steven, who you are, because I really like the guy. So like those kind of questions would allow me like to know the person better, because nobody really asking the host, who are you? So I was like, who you are, Steven? And he's like, to the world or to myself? And I'm like, what kind of question is that? But then he goes, okay, I'm something like, I'm boyfriend, I'm a podcaster, and I was like, and then he's like literally mumbled something that I couldn't understand. I was so disappointed because this dude is like self-assured, so polished. She's like super intelligent, and that's what stumbled him. I felt like he's figured out everything, like he's just like, this is who I am, bam, bam, bam. So I was like, oh, interesting. So then the doctor said, okay, whatever you just name it, it's like, what is the word he said? Something that you do that is who you are. And then he said, well, Steven, that's the name of the host. So he's like, Steven, I actually read some of your bio because you had a trauma, and then you were seeking how to like something, whatever. Like then he told the story about Louis Vuitton, something like, I guess like he was in that achieve mode, and then he found work. So kind of like he immersed in work. That's why he was like super successful. And the doctor said that's why trauma or the identity needed timeline. And he said usually it happening like when we experience something like terrible, like kind of trauma. What he said, So like our identity is the, oh my gosh, like, where's my phone? Oh, I give it to you. Can I look? Because the phrase that he used like was like so perfect, so I do want to quote him on that. So he said, so who we are is the narrative of our most emotional experiences. And then he said, look, every superhero has it. For example, Batman. He said, when he was young, he has this tragedy happening that he experienced when their parents killed in front of him. And then over the years, that's where he concentrated on becoming this vigilante, fighting for justice. And I was like, I am a Batman. Because something really bad happened to me, aka trauma. And over the years, like with this awareness building, that actually create me a person who fights for justice right now, who won't stand for that. So I'm like, that's so cool, so I'm a Batman. And then I was thinking like, hold on 1 second. So like my brain goes, so if the trauma happened 20 years ago and now I'm healed, that means I'm not a Batman? Hold on, so do I have to get another trauma to make sure that that hate and like anger that fueled me to become a Batman would stay with me? But hold on 1 second. If I get another trauma that I got there and I cannot handle right now because of my mental, emotional health, maybe it's gonna break me. So I'm gonna be worse than I am right now. I'm like, hold on 1 second. Maybe if I hold on to this trauma, then I'm still gonna be Batman. But if I'm like healed, then I have to redefine, so I cannot be what I was before. So my brain like going like through this brainstorm, I'm like, interesting. And then I hear this guy saying, that's what brought me back to the podcast. And he's saying to Steven, so can you go on vacation and just turn off your brain and enjoy yourself? No goals, no nothing. He goes, no. He's like, I'm like, wow, you have all that wealth and you cannot really actually enjoy vacation? I'm like, okay. Then he goes, so, Steven, is it hard for you to work hard? And Steven said, no, it's not hard for me to work hard. So the doctor said, why not? And Steven said, because working hard feels good. And then the doctor said, so everyone or anyone who wants even fracture of what you have right now, they don't have to duplicate who you are, or like what you do. They have to replicate what is inside of you that drives you like slave. And then look at Steven's eyes and I know he knows. And in that moment, two things come into my mind. First of all, I literally want to go and hug this poor guy and say, there's hope. But the second of all, I was so grateful to God that when I was there trying my worth and value in what I did, He came to me and He gave me peace. And I don't have to think that, my most emotional experiences create my identity. I don't have to redefine, because in some days, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm overachiever, I'm like high performance, but another day, dealing with my mental health or physical health or like some troubles that come, so I cannot even like get up from the bed. So I'm glad that it does not fluctuate because I'm good or bad performing or anything. And my identity is, I am a child of God. I'm His masterpiece, made in His image. And I've been called, forgiven, reconciled, justified, made as never seen. And that's what I'm claiming, and that's how I live in my life. Because He made me in His image and I live for His glory. And now He gives me passion, purpose, plan. Now I know that everything that happened to me had reason. And sometimes it's hard to see reason, especially when you're in the darkness. You don't understand what is happening. Why me? Why me? I forgive my parents that they failed me, forgive myself. And this is what you guys should be thinking about right now. Who you are in this moment in time and who you want to be. You got this one life. You decide how you're going to spend it. Thank you for your time.
It's question and answer period. So if you guys want to have some questions, please raise your hands. I guess we have maybe 15 minutes because we have to leave the room by 2, so we'll need some time to pick up. So go ahead. If you have questions.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I do. I have a sister and a brother, and they're still in Ukraine, and it's been tough because especially when it's the war like broke out, like, and I was thinking like, I need to save them. I need to save them. I heard God saying to me, you have to ask them what they need. Because I've been here for 20 years. I tried to save them all this time, and they just. My husband said, they're not your children, you're not responsible for them. But I raised them. And because my sister struggled through her marriages and children and stuff, I feel that I left them. I'm responsible for her life turn out this way because I left them, because I took care of them through all this mess that was with my parents. My brother actually, when my parents divorced, like, it was so messed up that they took away my 7-year-old brother. I was 15 and put him in an orphanage with the living parents. And I was fighting to get him back, but I was not even 16. So they cut me off until like my dad, almost a year later, got the custody back for my brother. Now he's in the front lines. Well, not in the front lines. He was called he was drafted, so I don't know where he is. But my sister just lost her husband in the front line, so she has 5 kids now, and that's what we've been doing. By the grace of God, like, I married men. When I said to him, like, I married him because I know the generosity and kindness, it's like one thing in him, and literally this is one thing that I never met in men, and that's what I fall in love with. Not only he treated me with respect, no matter how obnoxious I was, he actually treated people well, and I do believe it's because of Christ in him. So what happened is I told him, we need to help my family, and they never got us back. And all these years, that's what we do. We support them, we pay off their debts for their apartment and stuff, because my sister had very difficult life, and all she wanted to be wife and mother. And she finally met this guy who was like amazing to her kids, love her. One day he was like going to work, was doing master's so he can get better pay. Next day they draft him, like he actually didn't tell her that they draft him. And next day he showed her picture that he's wearing full uniform with this like huge Kalashnikov automat, and he died. So they brought him and buried him. So my sister is very heartbroken. But what interesting though, that my brother wanna be in the war even after everything that happens, because he's like, how come all the men was called, but I'm not the man? I wanna fight for my country. And half of the young kids like thinking about that as well. So my family are really struggling, but they are all together there, so they do not want to. They still have work, by the grace of God, the city does not get bombed, because, don't quote me on this, but I think I know why, because my city was built on iron, because it's iron town, so we have like the best quality of iron in my city, so it's a resource, and I think that's what's saving them. But what happened to me, like I got so depressed when I heard that, and I felt hopeless. I'm not in charge of the or I cannot control people as well. But bless you.
Thank you.
But what God spoke to me, and He said you did everything that you could. So I know even like if something happens to them, this is not on me. I feel complete peace. I have no fear. I talked to my sister just yesterday morning, and yeah, and day by day, hope and pray that God can finish this war. But yeah, that's their life back home. Yeah. Anyone else?
If you have more questions or you want to talk with Lena directly, I think we can end this section and you can talk further.
There you go. I think we have one more question. There you go.
Right.
Thank you so much for sharing. Sorry if I get this wrong, so please correct me as well. So there was a time when you were trafficked to the Middle East and specifically Israel? Is
Yeah,
that the end up there?
they brought us to Egypt,
Yeah.
and from Egypt they forced us under the barbed wire. That's how I ended up in Tel Aviv in Israel.
Right, and then you had two bodyguards, and one of the bodyguards decided to share the gospel.
He
More
didn't
about-
decide. He was Christian. He just was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, like in that moment of him sharing, what attracted you to Jesus or the gospel in that moment? What was about what he shared that you were like, I want to know more?
Yeah, that was actually that time. I don't think I was thinking Jesus because like back home, so we like whatever atheist, like the word that we've been using. So we actually do have like, we do have traditions, we bless the eggs at 6 o'clock in the morning, we sing the songs on the Christmas time, but all I know that all you have like the bucket, you go like to your godparents and you sing the song, they give you like eggs, money and candy. That's all. Like we had like no religion, no relationship, nothing. But I did know like about the Trinity, but that time I was like literally thinking about God. Jesus, like I actually learned about Jesus here already, and it was like huge time, probably like 5 years in between that experience and me giving my life to Christ. And what's interesting though, I was like just curious, like okay, for example, you're sitting in the lecture, some professor telling you a story and you like, boring. Like it's so boring. I hate like chemistry or whatever, like they talking, whatever it's boring stuff, okay? But then you get another professor talking about the same stuff, but he's like, whoa! And he doing this like experiment and you like, I love chemistry, because different people present it. So that's what happened to me. I was like, what? How like these people talking about persecution like this? But now I feel that's how I'm talking about trafficking like this. Because I want you to see hope. And that's what was different. And I was like, oh, I have goosebumps. So I was like, and he telling me his life story. That's how he started ministering. He didn't say like, oh, you need Jesus, let's baptize you in the Red Sea. No, there was nothing about that. Although that's what I thought to do to my family. I'm like, I bring God to my home, like, then we see. I didn't say that. I was baptized in this, but in my imagination, I'm like, accept Jesus. I need you to have faith. There's like, God didn't come to me this way. And I'm so grateful because He knows us like personally, because He knew that I cannot be forced. Because if I'm forced, I rebel. And like, I would never give my life to Christ if He would like show any signs of me like being made into, rather than like we have this song, it's Christian song, so it's He gently called me into His presence, guiding me by His Holy Spirit. That's what happened to me. He loved on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like somebody loved me like that. And like I remember crying when I heard this song, when God's heart was beating for me. This is the first time I realized like somebody's heart beats for me. Because that's what I was looking for, care and belong and love. So that's interesting, and because that bodyguard actually like just was sharing his story about the struggle, persecution, and he's ended up in a brothel. Like lots of people asking me like, what kind of Christian ended up in a brothel? But the backstory, like he was the father of two, and his wife actually was Jewish, and that's how they ended up running from USSR, because like they've been like persecuted there, and ended up that his wife, because her origin, she got a good job, like she was paying the rent, and he's like, what kind of man I am? Like I cannot find a job. So he was looking for a job like everywhere, and he couldn't find a job, and he wanted to support his family, and that's where like only one place they took him to be there, and that's where he ended up. And I don't even know like if he knows that he had a ministry, but the fact that he was protecting me physically. And another thing that I really like blow me away, because I never met men like that. Men in my life, they violent, angry, they like abusive. I never met kind men. Like so, and the funny part, not funny part for her, but he was like this to me, to other girls, to other people, and even crazy like clients who were drugged or like drunk. So he was the same person. He wasn't like nice to me because I was like a girl or whatever, like something. He was just like that. I'm like, who are you? You know, and that's what I start thinking. But another cool thing too, I walked where Jesus walked 10 years ago. Like, I didn't know one day I'm gonna be Christian and I'm gonna love these stories and sharing my stories. But the fact that I wasn't in Jerusalem, and he came and his little daughter came, and they literally, it was like excursion. Like honestly, one day I want to come back to Israel and work there as a freelance. Because that time I was a slave. So thank you for your question. Anyone else? Are we done? We have to go?
I mean, I'll end the Q&A session, but you can stay and talk and grab some more food and everything. Tomorrow we actually have a tour of the Newman Chapel, I think, and in the afternoon where people are going to share some of their testimonies, which is...
And tonight.
And tonight? Oh, and we have tonight. We have one more, yes. We have one more event tonight at 7. I think here. And it's about a war nurse from Iraq is going to be talking to us about godly suffering from a different angle, I guess, from witnessing suffering around rather than personal. But yeah, there you go. Please another round of applause.
Woo!
You can leave your follow-up forms here. Maybe you can tear them apart. They should be pretty easy to tear apart and just put them stuff in there.
Alright, by the way, guys, like just before you wrap, okay, I'm telling you this right away. Do not judge me on spelling. It was before AI, okay? But you're welcome to take this bookmark. So a little bit about what I'm doing right now. So the book what happened to me, but this little business card and this it's what's happening right now. So you can learn a little bit more. So there you go. Take it, share it, give it to someone else. And literally, if you have like anyone who needs to hear my story, please like connect us, share. We're gonna share this one as well on social media. But honestly, and if it's you who is struggling right now, doesn't matter what it is. Know that you're loved, you're significant, your life is wonderful. All right? And thank you for your time, guys. I really